Feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm sure you've heard that saying. I know I've heard it plenty of times. And while I fully agree with it, it's not that easy, right? It is so not that easy. So today we're going to talk about ways to overcome fear. Specifically, fear of taking risks in your career. If you're new here, I'm Jen, single mom, artist, and entrepreneur. And this channel is all about helping other single parents build a life that they love and do it all on their own. Oh, fear is a big one. It really is. If you've watched some of my other videos, then you probably already know that I had a business fail when I was in my 20s. And that failure really put me into a very bad place for a very long time. And the fear of failing again became this massive cloud over my head that kept me from pursuing my dreams for a really long time. It also kept me stuck in a lot of really bad places. Fear is an extremely good motivator, but not always motivating in the way that we want it to be, right? Whether you fear failing, whether you fear stepping out of your comfort zone, whether you just fear the unknown, finding a way to work through it and move past it is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. I got my coffee, so I'm all ready to chit chat about some ways to do that. Ooh, it's still really hot. Okay, so how can you overcome that fear so that you can take those necessary risks to move forward? Because let's be real, if you've been around at all, you know that I'm a big proponent that growth comes from being uncomfortable. Being comfortable means you're sitting in the same place. It means you're not moving forward. It means you're not growing. You got to get uncomfortable in order to grow. And sometimes getting uncomfortable means working through some fear to do it, to even take those steps. The first thing that I recommend doing is really working to identify what fear it is that's holding you back. And you can do this in a variety of ways. I really highly recommend journaling for this because it's a good way to put it down on paper, which makes it a lot easier to come back to it and revisit it and really work through it. Start by reflecting on past experiences where you may have felt fear or anxiety. So for instance, for me, when my business failed, I had a lot of anxiety around that. Oh my gosh. And I was so scared of trying again. I was just scared of even putting myself out there. The idea of even meeting new people and saying, this is the thing that I'm doing, was terrifying. And I knew that was the thing I was afraid of. And it was terrifying because when you put yourself out there, you risk failure again. Maybe no one will think that your idea is a good one. Maybe no one will like you. Maybe no one will want to support what you're working towards. Those are mostly irrational fears because most of the time, yeah, not everybody's going to like you. Certainly everybody doesn't like me. But at least some people will, because you're who you are, you're unique, and you will find your people. There are other people out there who are drawn to the kind of personality that you have, and they will find you. But you have to put yourself out there in the world in order for that to happen. So pay attention to the physical sensations in your body when you think about whatever the thing is that you want to pursue. Does your stomach hurt? Does your jaw get tense? Do your thoughts race? Do you feel really tense? Those are good signs of anxiety and fear, absolutely. And paying attention to when those hit and exactly what it is that you're thinking about when you feel them is a really good way to help pinpoint what the fear is. Think about which kinds of situations make you really uncomfortable and uneasy. When do you feel like retreating? Again, I recommend writing those thoughts and feelings down in a journal, and I would keep it for a week or two, because every time you feel anxious about something, if you write down how you felt and what was happening when you felt it, eventually you can go back and read through that journal and figure out what that fear is. And if you're really struggling, talk to a really trusted friend or even a therapist, because it is much easier for someone on the outside to see what you can't see. Sometimes, the old saying, we can't see the forest for the trees. It's absolutely the truth. Sometimes you're so in it that you can't see what it is that you're really worried and upset about. Sometimes you just need an outside perspective to help you really clarify what it is that you're scared of. Now, once you have figured that out, the best tactic that I have ever found for fighting that fear is to find a way to reframe it. And you do that by asking yourself relevant questions. What exactly do I have to lose if my fear comes true? Am I risking my home and my family? Or am I just risking feeling like a failure again? In what ways would I benefit if the fear doesn't come true? Those are big right there. Those are big, big reasons. By reframing that fear into really relevant questions that point out the absolute worst thing that could happen and all of the really great things that can happen, it's really quick to see that the bad thing list is probably very, very small compared to the list of benefits, right? 99% of the time, the things we have to lose are really not that big, but the things we have to gain are enormous. The problem is we get so focused on those negatives that we forget how giant this list of benefits is. And the truth is, just being born into this world is a giant risk. Nothing about this life is truly a safety net, realistically. Another really helpful strategy can be to put all of your focus on the process itself instead of the outcome. Let's use the example of me buying a kiln for my art studio. The risk is that it's expensive and it might not pay for itself quickly, right? That's the real risk. It's expensive. But the benefits are that I could make a whole new line of things that my clients really love and are willing to pay for. I could make a lot of money off of the art that I'm going to create with that kiln. I could expand my offerings dramatically with the art that I'm going to make in that kiln. I could open myself up to a whole new client base of fused glass artwork versus stained glass artwork. So there's a lot of potential benefits in that scenario that far outweigh the risk of, okay, I've spent this money that I might not get back. Okay, so the big risk here is it might not pay for itself. But the benefits, the list of benefits is tremendously longer, right? If we're going to use the strategy of focusing on the process instead of the outcome, so instead of focusing on how much money could I make with this kiln versus how much money could I lose by making this purchase, we're going to focus on what can I learn from this new experience? How can I use this new kiln to grow as an artist? What challenges am I going to learn to overcome by learning how to use this kiln? What new steps am I going to take moving forward with my business? Who can I connect with to learn more about glass fusing? How will those new connections impact my overall business? And how will having this new exciting way of making art be motivating and drive me in a positive way? So you see how that works? By focusing on the process involved with that new risk, you're focusing on the ways that you can learn and grow and the other side benefits of taking that small leap or big leap, even if it's a big one. I mean, say the risk is that you're going to start a business. Think about the people you could connect with in the process of starting that business and how they're going to help you grow as a human and as a business owner. That in itself is a gigantic benefit that's part of the process. Taking risks in your business, whether they are big risks or small ones, is always going to be scary. Fear is always going to be present. but by finding a way to work through it, either by focusing on the process or by identifying that fear and reframing those questions surrounding that fear, by working through it in either of those ways, you have so much more to gain than you ever will have to lose. The biggest thing that you can do for yourself is to surround yourself with a supportive network of friends, colleagues, other business owners, and mentors. Surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and who believe in your ability to overcome your fear and make those risks worthwhile is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. In business and just in life, we can all use a set of cheerleaders, right? We can all use a hype man or woman or a whole slew of them in our lives. Taking risks is always going to be necessary to achieve new goals. It just is. Comfort never got you anywhere, and safety is an illusion. So weigh your options and really do figure out how to fight that fear and do it anyway. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your journey.